Good afternoon, everyone.
Good afternoon.
Can everyone hear me on this? Well, can everyone see the screen well? It's important that you be able to see the screen. I'm going to go through several different examples of things in social media. My name is Joe Schinelli. I'm Assistant National Director of Communications. I work in the Washington, D.C. Legislative and Service Headquarters. And I've been managing the national organization's Facebook and Twitter presence for about 6 years now. I believe this is our 6th time we've given this seminar here at National Convention, given 5 of them at midwinter as well. And I've recognized a lot of faces. I also see some new faces, so I just want to put out there ahead of time a wide range of experience in social media. I'm going to try to be as basic as possible. For some people who, I've spoken with some of you, don't have Facebook profiles yourself, even as an individual yet. But we're going to spend a lot of time on Twitter as well this afternoon. Afterwards, we're going to have plenty of time for questions and answers as a group. Then it can be available as long as you'd like afterward for individual questions too. And this seminar is being recorded right now. It'll be online along with the slide presentation. It'll be on DAV.org, the convention section. I'll also be posting it onto our Facebook group, which we'll get to in a minute. As long as we've been doing these seminars, we'll start with the first thing, which is a quick survey. How many people here have email addresses? I started 6 years ago, it was only about half. How many people here have a Facebook account, a personal Facebook account? That's great. First thing I would say, if you want to use social media to help your chapter, your department, get on Facebook as an individual. First thing, spend at least a month on there as an individual before you start working as a chapter page or a department page. How many people here are on Twitter? Much smaller number. Twitter's important, and I'm basing where we're spending different time here on the feedback I've received from a lot of you, and I know Twitter is something that people want to hear more about. We're going to talk the real basics of Twitter, but if anyone wants more advanced, we can get there as well. Why use social media? 6 years ago, this was a real fight. At first, the organization as a whole, but many individuals did not want DAV or very much our departments or chapters to be on social media. But we saw these numbers, they were large then, but they've grown, they've more than doubled now. 84% of all Americans are on social networks, and 98% of them are on Facebook, about 48% are on Twitter. And the majority of people, they don't want to have to go to you. They don't want to have to go find your chapter. They're not going to type in San Antonio chapter of DAV. They want you to already be there and coming to them. And 400% more likely. If somebody sees that their friend is already engaging with DAV through social media, they're 400% more likely to join the organization than if you were just to send them a piece of mail or if they saw an advertisement in a newspaper. It's that referral. They're endorsing you. And so when you get people to follow your pages, they're endorsing your chapter, your department, or this organization in general. And your friend doesn't even have to try to tell you or to tell his or her friends about DAV. It automatically happens just by the engagement out there, just by them being there. It's passive, it's not in your face, it doesn't require people to have a hard ask. And really happy to see so many people here. I want to talk a little bit about who should be running your chapter pages, your department pages. Certainly should be an active member of your chapter or department. Clearly, if you're here, you're active. When you're thinking about who should have that type of responsibility, it needs to be somebody clearly you can trust to be able to speak on the entire organization's behalf. That's not the goal, but that will be the perception. So you have to make sure that who you have out there is somebody, not just someone who you can trust, but someone who's knowledgeable about the organization, about your level of the organization, and somebody who can convey the big picture. We're going to talk about the different types of posts and tweets you put out there, but it has to be people who understand the big picture. We're going to talk a lot about pride and instilling pride and invoking that. But that's something, you need someone who has a lot of pride in your organization, a lot of pride in your chapter, your department. There's always concerns. Everyone here should be concerned about their privacy on social media. There's settings, and the settings are continually updated. Find those settings in your own personal profile and share to the level that you're comfortable. But when you're sharing chapter or department information, it's going to be on a global level. So you have to keep in mind anything that's put out there, just like a press release, even if it's only up for a minute and you realize you delete. So to be very careful about what you put out there. And you gotta be careful of how things are presented. Everything you put out there, if you're putting it on a chapters page or a department page, or even if you're putting it on your own personal profile, and you in some way note on your Facebook page or your Facebook timeline or your Twitter account, your Instagram account, that you are a member or have a leadership role at DAV, no matter what the level is, there's going to be people out there who perceive that as you speaking for the organization as a whole. And so keep that in mind as you're deciding what to post and what to share. It's much better not to be on social media than to be on there without a strategy, without a goal, without the right people making that. You're here because you want to have the right message out there. So that's a great first step. But wait until you're fully ready before you go out there. If you already have a page, that's fine. I'm not saying delete it. Just saying make sure before you continue to move forward that you have a strategy. Think about what you want the purpose of that page to be. Frequency is something really important. Just about everyone raised their hand when I asked about email. Who has email? You don't want to be spammed. And if you're posting on your Facebook page or you're tweeting too often, it's going to be considered spam. People are going to look at it as spam and they'll turn them off. And they may end up shutting down your page so they can't see it, which will be wasting your efforts. The bottom one here is the most important when you're deciding what types of content. Make sure everything has a photo or a graphic, some type of image. We're going to look at a few different examples of those here in a few minutes. When you're posting and you're writing about DAV, which I strongly encourage you to do, talk about the reasons you're proud to be a member, talk about the great things that the organization, that you as a member of the organization or your chapter is doing. But make sure you tag your chapter or your department or the national page so that your friends can see it automatically. You don't have to send it to them. If you just tag in the DAV page, everyone will automatically know. Facebook will distribute that for you. Provide your personal perspective. That's the key when we're talking about individuals. And same thing when you're posting for your chapter, provide the perspective to your chapter. If you share something that the national page puts out, which I strongly encourage you to do, if you can come up with a sentence or a paragraph that explains why that particular piece of information is important to your chapter or the people who care about your chapter, that'd be real success, and that will get you the maximum amount of engagement and reach. I haven't had this in the first year I've had this slide up here. If you look at some of the statistics, 18 to 29-year-olds, 92% of them who are online or on social media. A huge percentage, I actually think it may be a little larger than that. This number is about 8 months old. But if you notice, 30 to 49, 77%, and 64% of 50 to 60-year-olds are active on social media. And that 50 to 60-year-old, that's the fastest growing demographic. It remains. It has been for more than 3 years now. So the misnomer that it's only our youngest generation out there on social media is dead wrong. We have a lot of people from all different ages, and all different walks of life as well, all over the country who are on social media. We have a lot of retired people who are on social media. It's not because they want to play the games or because they're looking to get the specials at the local store. They're engaging with, they're watching their children, their grandchildren. So they're out there. They're getting on Facebook and Twitter and Instagram. So while they're there, we might as well be reaching them. Facebook.com/DAV is DAV's national Facebook page. As of yesterday, we are up at 464,000 and climbing subscribers to the page. We reach into the millions fairly regularly on a weekly basis. When we put a post out there, we get a lot of engagement, a lot of shares, and this is a good resource for you. These are posts, we're only going up once or twice a day, but they're posts that have a wide range of interest, and they often have very important messages, legislative messages that we really need you to share. We need you to get that out to your members. Events is probably one of your biggest opportunities. You have your different events, whether it's a department convention or a chapter meeting. Make sure that you're getting those out on social media. It's almost effortless to be able to just write up when and where you're meeting and why you're meeting. Take a picture of while you're meeting there. Maybe put a quote from your commander. Simple things like that actually do very well on social media. And they will let your members, you have active members who maybe won't be able to make a meeting, but they'll share that. And they'll feel more engaged and they might be more likely to come to your meeting next time. Or maybe even better, they're going to let their friends know about it. So when I decide what we're going to post, when I'm trying to decide what types of posts, I look for 3 key goals. It needs to be one of these 3 goals, or at least it's making me think it's going to for me to put it up there. One is to inspire pride, and we don't have any posts that do better than the ones that we have inspired pride. This one over here with that service member in front of the bunker. We posted up on July 4th, and we reached more than 2 million people in that one post. There's nothing really special about it. It's a pretty simple deployment picture. But people are proud to put that on their page. They're proud to associate themselves with that. And if you can find things that will give people that feeling, they will share it on their page as well. And when they share it, all of their friends see it. And so if they have 100 friends, which is about the average, it means one post, one share is going to get you at least 100 views. That can add up very quickly, obviously, for a chapter. On the right there, that was some current event news. Just some simple photos. You can get these photos from the national page. Anything I'm sharing out there, those are things that you're able to use. But if you find things on the .mil websites, such as the Army's website or .gov websites, like the White House website, the photo there at the top of the president presenting a soldier with the Medal of Honor, that was from the White House, whitehouse.gov. So that photo is something that we're allowed to use. But you can see there were 700,000 people, and it was shared 3,300 times. So these things move very quickly, very simple, but it was a current event, and these are things that your members would be inspired by as well. The one I think most people think of first is to provide information, and it's certainly the most straightforward. We have legislative issues that we can provide news on what's happening in U.S. Congress or the White House. But you all have state houses as well, governors, and I would really strongly encourage you to share the news of what's happening in your state capital in regards to veterans. The one on your left there is from our National Service Director, Jim Marcelek, and it's something that you can do as well. If you have service officers, you have good relationships, whether they're NSOs or if they're local service officers. Simple, just a couple paragraphs about something that might be trending, something that might be happening new, goes a long way, and it's a lot of value. And if you're providing value for free to your audience will continue to grow, because they'll continue to come back to you. And when they come back to you, Facebook automatically, Twitter automatically tells their friends that this is something that this person's interested in. The third one, and I don't want to use this one too often, I wouldn't suggest you do it either, is to evoke outrage. It's obviously it's not a strong emotion, but everything that's been, the scandal that's been happening with the wait lists and VACs, and then there with Stand Up for Veterans, we had some congressmen who were passing information that really wasn't correct. And so we put that out there. Our legislative team put that together. We posted it out there. See, it had more than 5,000 shares, more shares than that Medal of Honor post did. But if you share these angry posts a lot, that becomes the tone of your page, and people won't stay around too long for that. And if you notice under all these, there's hundreds of comments as well. You'll probably get a dozen comments or so once you have a very established page. Make sure that the tone of those comments are positive in nature, constructive. And I'm not talking about deleting comments. I'm talking about you as the administrator of the page to guide these comments, to correct misinformation, to let it be know what DAV is doing, or let me know what VA is doing, or Congress, whatever it might be, and try to keep the conversation focused on particular topics. Also here, the Stand Up for Veterans graphic. That goes back to instilling pride. It's something people they're proud to stand up for veterans. They're proud to have that on their page. So it's great to be able to mix these three things. For administrators of chapter and department pages, I've created a group, created at National Convention last year, and we've had a lot of people join. I'm not sure how people found out about it again, but quite recently had a few dozen new administrators get on the group. It's been a good resource. It's a place where we can share information with each other on what's working, what's not working. It's something I encourage everyone to get on. I know it's a long URL up there at the top. Here, that's the URL for the group. You need to ask to be allowed into the group. This group, only the people who are in the group can see what's happening in there, and so we can talk freely in there. But if you email me afterwards, if you come up, I can get you in the group right away. There's a lot of good resources in the group, and I think there's a lot of value for us to come together in something like that. And always willing to help people build or grow their pages. Right now we have, that I know of, with 86 chapter websites, or I'm sorry, chapter Facebook pages, and we have 12 department pages. And about half of each of those two are doing quite well. It's something that you need to continue to work on, something you need to make sure you have. It doesn't take a lot of time to do Facebook. Twitter, which we're going to get to in a minute here, takes more time. Facebook's easy. You can post it up there, you can come back in a day if you need to, and look at the comments. But again, back to the group, it's just important, I think, for us to come together. And I can, nationally, if you post something from Louisville, I can share your post, so only the people in Kentucky see it. And so we won't get the people who are over in California feeling bothered by it. There'll only be people in Kentucky see it, and that'll help your audience. So I'd be happy to help your audience grow by getting a national page, but I need to be able to coordinate with you. I need to know what you're doing to be able to do that. we are on Instagram. We've been on Instagram for a little while. Changed the name, and it's a more edgy platform. It's a lot of all about imagery. Every post has to have a square image. You'll see it uses hashtags, the same as Twitter does. We'll get the hashtags in a minute for those who aren't real familiar with that is. What those are, but that's Instagram is something growing. It's completely mobile, and they have to be on a mobile device to post. You don't have to be on there to view it, but you need to post. This is something I might spend more time on next year. Christian Adams, who's at our national headquarters in Cold Spring, he's managing our Instagram account right now. But Twitter, again, the feedback I got, especially from that group, was that we need to talk about Twitter more, that we have more chapters and departments, and I'm not sure of any chapters and departments who are on Twitter right now. I'm sure there are some out there, I'm just not aware of them. But Twitter is text messaging on a website. It's 140 characters. And you see there's 550 million registered users though. And marketers are seeing really good success. A third of what they're doing is working. And that's a tremendous rate. It's been the fastest growing network since 2011, actually. And people who are on there are very active on there. It's something that's it's in real time. So when you post something, when you tweet something, people will reply to you right away if they're going to reply to you. So it's limited to 140 characters. The reason they picked 140 characters is because our old cell phones, not the smartphones, the old cell phones, they limited you to 140 characters as well. And so the idea here was short, concise messaging. It definitely caters to the short attention span that a lot of people have. It's mobile friendly, but you can completely interact with it on the computer as well. As I alluded to earlier, Twitter takes more time though than Facebook. When you're actually engaging, you can't just tweet and run. You can't just tweet, turn off the computer, or turn off your phone. You need to be ready to respond if you're tweeting on behalf of your chapter or your department. And that's key. Nothing's going to kill your Twitter account faster than having people start asking you questions back and not being available to answer. So this slide here has the mechanics. So the real basics of how to tweet. You have a small box over here. You can also click this button here and it'll open the box larger. And you type in your 140 characters, and as you can see down here in the bottom left corner here, Twitter will count it for you. It'll show you how many characters you have left. And it counts spaces and punctuations, and if you're going to use images, it creates the image as a link. And so that does count. Those will take out upwards of 24 of your characters. So you can use abbreviations. It doesn't have to be perfect English, become acceptable text message language. And once you click that, it becomes live, and the whole world can see it. On Facebook, you can share something where you take someone else's content, put it on your page, and only about a third of your friends actually see it. Everyone has the opportunity to go actually a third really see it. In Twitter, when you retweet something, which is the same thing, you're putting that out to all of your friends. So if you retweet something, everybody will see it. And these are the mechanics. Everything's they try to be as straightforward as possible. You also notice here, and I don't have mechanics, nothing happens, but right up here it says favorite. You just click on favorite on something, and that does the same thing as retweeting it without putting it on your timeline. Favorite a lot of posts. That's a great way to get your particular profile out there more. People will get notifications that you favorited their tweets, and Twitter takes that into account. All of these social networks have these algorithms, and they don't release how it works, but it's how they take your content and share it more. Because Twitter limits you to 140 characters, you need to shorten your links. For instance, the DAV link to our convention page here is dav.org/event/convention. That would take up almost your entire tweet. So there's websites out there. Bitly is the one I use, the one I would recommend. Just bit.ly, and when you go there, it just opens up a little window here. You can copy and paste that long link, that long URL, and there when you hit shorten, it comes out something like that, much shorter. And with this, you can track how many people click on the link. If you copy and paste that Bitly, which is what we call the shorter link, and you put it up into your browser with a plus mark after a plus sign afterward, it'll show you how many people clicked on your link and when. So it becomes something really trackable, traceable, that you can determine how much success you're having.
Do you use that on Facebook, Joe?
Absolutely, I use it on Facebook as well. Facebook will punish you if you don't use it, as a matter of fact. They decide if you have a good post or not before your audience ever gets to decide. And if they think it's not a good post, they won't show it to any of your friends. If they think you have a great post and it has the photo and has a link, it has not too long of content, not too many words, and you haven't posted too often, it'll let all your friends know. So the Bitly, having shorter links. So this is what an average timeline looks like. It's a bunch of different tweets. And this is about hashtags. Hashtags, I'm going to use a quick analogy here. Facebook, and I'll use, this is where in Las Vegas, I'll use a bar as the analogy. You walk into a bar, and there's no tables. Everyone's just all over the place. And you might know some people, so you might walk up to them and have a conversation. You might not. You might just hear some things, but there's not a lot of individual conversations. That's more of Facebook. Twitter, you walk into a bar and there's lots of tables. You can go sit at any one of these tables and have a conversation about a specific topic. Those tables are hashtags. The hashtags are, right here we have sacrifice, freedom, veterans, something we tweeted out this morning from Joint Open Session. So these are blue because they become links. So they're links within Twitter. If I was to click on it, this is not live, so I can't do this in real time for you, but if I was to click on veterans, it would take me to a page that looks like this, where it's a bunch of different tweets about veterans. And so it becomes a conversation within Twitter. You don't go to someone's Twitter page and have a conversation like you do on Facebook. This is much different in that way. If you want to talk about Regis, at sign Regis, that's Regis Philbin's page. And so you click on that, you start talking about Regis, and you see what he's talked about. He may even interact with you and talk back with you about his experience here today. So it's important to use these different hashtags in your posts. Sometimes different campaigns. Earlier in the year, when we did Operation Keep the Promise, we had hashtag Keep the Promise. And you don't put spaces between them, just that KBEP, then THE, straight through, no spaces, and it becomes a link. And we get a lot of conversation. We have more than 1 million people who look at that conversation, and about 30,000 people actually engage in that conversation around Keep the Promise. So you don't have to know them. They don't have to know you. They just have to be interested in the topic. This is a full view of your Twitter account. Over here is trending. You notice most of them are hashtags. These are the hashtags in your particular city, and it still thinks I'm in Washington, D.C., so it's Houston, and it's Whitney Houston's birthday today. So Whitney Houston's trending. She's somebody or that topic, something that people are talking about all over the place. So this is a good way to make make sure you get into a large conversation. If you want to talk about something, Iraq is the #1 trending topic. Just a couple hours ago today. So if you had hashtag Iraq in one of your posts, you could be inserting your post into the largest conversation in the world right now. You need to make sure you're actually relevant, though. You can do a shout out to Iraq veterans. You can ask Iraq veterans what they think about the new operations or something like that. But those are ways you should definitely keep a track of what's trending. Over here on your right is who to follow. Who to follow, these are other profiles that Twitter is, they're watching who you interact with, watching who interacts with your posts, who sees your posts. These are people they think, or these are profiles that they think you should be using. You want to appear in those, of course, for other people, and that you do that by engaging your audience. Tweet, that's a tweet that we sent out earlier. You can see you get forward, and DAV, we were tagged into it, and that's what a link looks like for a photo. Click on that link and you see the image afterward. These are more tweets that we put out ourselves today. Really, to wrap up my portion of the presentations, in the end, what works for national is not going to work for some chapters, some departments. What works for a chapter in Louisville might not work for a chapter in San Diego. So you need to continue to work with it, to play with it, to see what works, what doesn't, try new things. Really keeping track of the patterns, your users' patterns is key. Every marketer does that no matter what the brand is. The #1 message I just want to let you know is I'm here to help. Of those chapters and departments, I know I've worked directly with more than 50 different chapters to get them online, on Facebook, and spend maybe 15 minutes on the phone. They have a chapter page up, and then continue to help them figure out what works for their chapter and what doesn't. I'd be more than happy to do that with any of you. My goal for this year is to get every department on Facebook. I definitely think it's something we can do, something we need to do, and I'm ready to help you work with that. We have a microphone here in the middle. I'd be happy to answer any questions anyone has. And afterward, I'd be happy to answer any questions in person or leave this different contact information.